racial diversity and the energy of love and the viewpoints that some of you have and the ability to change your perspectives to allow yourself to experience the higher frequencies of love in your physical forms, in your corporeal form. Each one of you, every person on this planet, came forth and selected the particular families that they would be born into. In that way, they selected the visual aspect of how they would be viewed in this world, how they wanted to be viewed, and how that racial tone was going to lend them the ability to experience physical life from this unique perspective. In that way, there was an agreement then between the family members and each person who came forward. They agreed to assist each other in that way. Those who came forward in various racial backgrounds did so for the purpose of experiencing not only life from that perspective, meaning experiencing the positive aspects, but also experiencing the ignominies of being that particular race as well. The opportunity then would present itself to each individual of that particular race to find creative solutions to problems that arise from the experiences that would be unique to each individual race, but also to the cultural beliefs that are prevalent from a mass perspective within each race. And so the opportunity was then going to be for each person to bring their unique creativity to the fore and utilize this information in conjunction with the experiences that are occurring at the same time for each of you. While you are a particular gender, a particular sexual orientation, and a particular race, in this time-space reality, you are also existing in various different forms in other lives that you incarnated as. And so your higher self then is experiencing the perspectives of these different races at the same time. As you are all telepathically linked, there is benefit then in that communication between you and through you. For the most part, the cultural views and limitations, that is the limiting beliefs that are prevalent with respect to each race, are normally from the framework of right and wrong and tie into many other limiting beliefs that are also going on at the same time. Meaning, if you believe in the superiority or the inferiority of a particular race, the reason for that, the impetus for that arises from a general fear of one's own inner power, one's own ability to align with the understanding of each inner self, hence the arising of the framework of the ideas of right and wrong. And so as each one of you are journeying along your awakening path and coming into more harmony with the totality of your multi-dimensional existence, the necessary thoughts that would typically arise from the framework of right and wrong then become minimized in that they are no longer a mainstay thought in your belief systems. The idea of right and wrong then begins to fade away and become a much less present thought framework. And so then, one can then correlate that seeing differences in each other based on visual differences, meaning racial differences, what you can observe with your eyes, is a reflection of the oneness that is not quite achieved or accomplished within your own belief system, for the removal of the fear of your own inner power, of your own inner self, and the expression of that is fundamental to your ability to see each other for who you all truly are and what you all truly are. For each one of you, although may have come down as different racial ethnicities, you all came forth for a similar purpose, for the same reasons: to learn, to understand life from different perspectives, so that you could utilize the benefit of those experiences and the challenges that would come forth from each race. For each race holds their own challenges, although that is not believed by some. It is nevertheless true. And then you are going to utilize these challenges as an opportunity to bring to bear your own creative will, your own creative solutions and energy to overcoming the challenges that you experience in each race. And though it is not thought of commonly, then you can understand that the more in alignment that you become with yourself, meaning the more loving you are of yourself, the more you trust yourself as a multi-dimensional being, the more you trust your psychic abilities, the parts of you that are not easily observable by the five senses of others, the more you come into appreciation of all of the parts of you, the less you will find yourself needing to see each other as different in any way. In that case, you will begin to see each other as more of what is the truth, which is that you are all inherently the same. From an energy perspective, from many of your multidimensional aspects, from the reason why you all came forth here into these bodies that you selected in this time-space reality, and also in the other realities that you are currently experiencing as an incarnated physical being. And so then even this idea, which is not normally thought of as a direct link to a fear of one's own inner self, the times when you observe other people's verbal expressions of hatred then is simply an expression that reflects that individual personalities in physical form lack of unity and acceptance and love of their own multi-dimensional existence. For what he is afraid of is what he projects. And culturally in the past, and I use time in quotes because we are talking here about this particular time-space reality that you are experiencing. But in the past then, fear of ethnic minorities, let us say, generates from the ideas that there was some mysticism involved in their existence or in their practices, in their origins. And of course, this kind of psychic thought was feared because, and that fear exists today in many religions of the inner self of the power that lies within each of you. And so the particularized view of superiority and inferiority that has occurred in the past and even still is occurring today was given rise because of a fear of oneself, of one's own power, of one's own mystical or psychic dimensions, you see. And this is what gave rise to the platform of racism then, with respect to human beings. It was not necessarily what is traditionally thought of as one is better than the other, but the origins of that thought are that one is more afraid of the other because one is more afraid of oneself, and those parts of oneself that have still gone unexamined